This morning, we are focusing on something millions of Americans are dealing with every single day, but very few talk about it. More than 6 million women in this country have trouble getting or staying pregnant. That's according to the CDC. Now, that's about 10% of those who are of childbearing age. TV personality and founder of the LV Guide, that's Lilliana Vazquez. When she realized it was going to be difficult for her to get pregnant, she kept it to herself. For National Infertility Awareness Week, we asked Lilliana to share her own path to motherhood with CBS Mornings.
In the fall of 2015, I was asked to sit on the panel of a new network show. For a girl from Fort Worth, Texas, who spoke English as her second language, let me tell you, it was a dream come true. One morning, right before we went live, my cell phone rang. My stomach dropped as soon as I saw the number on my screen. It was my OBGYN calling with blood work results. Women are born with around 2 million eggs, which is all the eggs they'll ever have. At the onset of menopause, most women only have around 1,000 left. My doctor called to share that at just 35 years young, my hormone levels indicated that I could be dangerously close to that number. She followed up with the one question that changed the course of the next 6 years. Do you want to be a mother? I still get emotional saying that question out loud, because up until that moment, I hadn't really thought about it. I was the career girl. I was the woman who prioritized my job above almost all else. Now, here I was, broken on a bathroom floor, crying over something I never realized I wanted so badly. When I finally composed myself, I answered her question with a resounding yes. But my journey to motherhood would not come easily. Infertility had taken agency over my body. I was ashamed, embarrassed, and I didn't want anyone to know. So I made a decision to keep my diagnosis as private as possible. Over the next few years, I saw every specialist I could find. Hundreds of needles filled containers in my kitchen cabinets.
I cannot wait until all of this is finally over.
Each one was a testament to the battle I was fighting. Tiny swords I wielded each day in my war on infertility. Months turned to years, and before I knew it, we had lost 7 embryos.
Back at it again.
I started to lose track of all of the appointments, the ultrasounds, the blood draws. I started to lose track of myself. When you're battling infertility, a bad day feels unbearable. A good day still feels hopeless. Each failed cycle made me question myself. Was I woman enough, good enough, or even committed enough to get pregnant? Could we be happy if life were just the two of us? Was I enough? For me, faith came in the form of one word. I remember walking off set defeated after yet another negative pregnancy test, when a coworker came over and whispered, "Surrender." Her simple instruction started a seismic shift in the acceptance of my journey. I learned how to release the idea of pregnancy and instead opened my heart to parenthood. I stopped obsessing over the statistics that would never be in my favor. My worth wouldn't be tied to a follicle count or an FSH level anymore, because no matter what the number said, I had always been worthy of becoming a mother. On Election Day 2020, we transferred one of our last embryos. As they wheeled me into the room, I did my best to let go. I closed my eyes and surrendered to our greatest wish of all, just to be parents. Santi lived only in our hearts for 6 years. But then, on July 19th, 2021, our brave, beautiful boy came into this world and healed my heart. Every night, I feel his tiny body relax and somehow grow so heavy in my arms. I can see the outline of his beautiful lashes, that perfect nose, and his little lips pursed together, somehow telling me without words, "Mama, thank you. I'm safe and happy and so loved." IVF showed me how to grieve and grow, and that faith arrives when you face your biggest fears. I learned there's freedom in forgiveness, and above all, boundless strength in vulnerability.
Lilliana is here. Lilliana, I say, Mama, thank you, too. Did you ever think you could feel such love? You would kill for this little creature. I know it.
I absolutely would. I think I said it to you best. I love my husband with all my heart. I'd probably kill him for this baby, too. I mean, I don't know that I've ever felt this. And I didn't know that that was a feeling that was missing for me for so long.
What struck me about your piece, number one, it's beautifully done and very, very powerful. When you said you were ashamed and embarrassed, and you didn't want to say, thank you for getting over that and sharing your story with all of us. But what were you ashamed and embarrassed about? This was something that wasn't beyond your control. We have to dig into why women feel this way.
You know, for me, I felt broken, and I felt like the one thing I should be able to do is get pregnant and have a baby. Yeah. It's all I had thought was easy, right? And then all of a sudden, I couldn't do it. No matter how hard I tried, I couldn't control that. And I feel like so many women who are battling IVF feel so much shame in that. Why can't my body just do this one thing? And I didn't want to share that because I didn't want to be pitied either. You know, I think that's really important. For me, I wanted to be strong and confident, and I didn't want people to look at me and be like, oh, she can't get pregnant.
Yeah.
But you weren't even sure you wanted a baby in the beginning. It's only when the doctor asked that question.
Absolutely. Is
that true?
Absolutely. Yeah. You know, I was never that person who picked out names in advance, and it wasn't until that very moment, I think, and it happens a lot in life, when people take something away from you, or the opportunity to have something that's taken away from you, it becomes crystal clear. All I could see was myself as a mother at that point.
Yeah, it's a very clarifying moment. You're only 35 years old at the time. You thought you had years to go.
I thought I could have a baby whenever I wanted. It was on my schedule, according to my plan. It wasn't.
You were a career woman, you think?
Yes.
And that was the most important thing for you?
That was what my focus was on, right? It was on my relationship, my friends, it was on travel, it was adventure. And my focus wasn't on being a mom or being a parent. That could come in time, but it wasn't what I really wanted in that moment until my doctor asked that question. And that is really what changed the course of the next 6 years of my life for me. And I had never been more grounded and more clear in the fact that I wanted to be a mother and I wanted to be a parent.
I was telling you while the piece was running that I love that you used the technical terms for the follicle counts and all this, because the people who are going through this, you know, the average person may not know what it is, but the millions of people going through this, they know what that is.
Oh, you know, you hear FSH and you go, oh God, not again, not again. What is it? How low is it? Or follicle counts, right? Those numbers dominated my life for so long until I was finally able to let that go.
So now that you're on the other side of it, what is your message to those people, those millions of people who are in it right now?
You know, I think the biggest shift for me was shifting from fear to acceptance, right? And what does that mean? That means that when you're going into these appointments, you know, fear says, oh, I only have 6 follicles, or fear says we only have 2 embryos. But what acceptance is it only takes 1. It only takes 1 egg, and it only took 1 for me to have Santiago. And that shift is what gives people hope. And I really hope that people see this and know that there's still hope.
I think it's so important that you tell your story, because I remember, you know, very ignorantly on my part, years ago, a couple had been married a couple years, and I said, are you guys planning to have children? And they said, well, yeah. And I said, well, what are you waiting for? It's easy. I mean, that's so stupid when you don't know. And she goes, actually, Gayle, it's not. And the way she looked at me, I felt such shame that because I'm trying to be funny. I felt such shame that I had done that to her. That's why it's so important that you educate us about what we may or may not know. Oh. Because when you said when battling a bad day feels unbearable, a good day still feels hopeless.
Absolutely, because there's bad news at every turn. Yes. There's so much loss in IVF. It's not just, you know, getting pregnant and having a miscarriage. When you're going through IVF, you're losing embryos, you're canceling transfers. You know, there is so much trauma in that, and everything becomes a trigger. And so when somebody says something like that, even though, you know, you're joking and trying to be light about it.
But it's not funny.
It's not funny, and it's so deeply painful. And I think the more we talk about it, the more we normalize IVF and infertility, people will stop and second guess asking that question, because you never know what somebody is fighting for privately.
And the best thing about Santi is what?
His laugh. You heard it right there. You heard it right there. That baby. But by the way, you got to work for those laughs. He's not that baby that's serving them up at every corner. So every day I'm out there like doing the craziest dances and making the faces. But that laugh lights up my heart, and it'll light up our lives for forever.
Perfect little nose as well. We're so happy for you, Lilliana.
Thank you so much.
Very
And
happy ending to a story.
thank you for having me here to share more on this.
We needed you today.
Oh,
We did.
thank you.
Lilliana Vazquez, we appreciate it.